Smoking Old Man BBQ. I'm Eric. This is my first show. Hopefully this is not my last. Today I'm going to do a brisket. We are going to do I have an 11-pound brisket. We're going to, I got to do a lot of trim work on this one. As you can see, has a very thick fat cap on it. So I'm going to trim most of that off and remove my my homemade seasons back, my rub back. Take a lot of this fat and this silk meat off. Just get it down to about 1/4 of an inch fat on the fat side. We're going to rub it down with my mixture once we get that done. And then after that, we're going to throw it on the smoker. I'm going to smoke it. 11 pounds should take probably 12, 13 hours, maybe 14 hours at 250 on my Weber Smoky Mountain smoker. So let's get started. So I've already cleaned it, trimmed it, got most of the fat off of it, left a little bit of the fat on it because I want it to render when I cook it and make the meat very moist. So now all I need to do is go ahead and start adding my seasoning. So this is a rub that I put together on a brisket. I really use a lot of pepper. I like spicy. Some people can't take it, so I did have some pepper in this, and some paprika, some garlic powder, some salt. I think that's it. So what I'll do is I will rub it down on both sides, pat it down, rather, not rub it, but pat it down. And then we will go outside and get the smoker ready. Once it gets up to temp, we'll be smoking it at 250 for probably around 12 hours. This is 11 pound, probably took off 1.5 pounds from all the fat. So I'm thinking probably around 12 hours smoking. So I'm just going to lightly sprinkle this onto the onto the brisket. Just make sure I cover it pretty good. I'm not using a binder this time. Sometime I will use mustard or olive oil to make the rub stick a little bit better, but this time I'm not going to use one. You never taste it, even if you use a mustard or a spicy mustard, whatever you want to use. You don't taste it. It's just really a binder to help hold the seasoning on, your rub on. I'm just going to pat this in. Make sure we get the sides. Okay. And I will put more seasoning on the meat side, the muscle side, versus the fat side, because that fat's going to break down. I cook it with fat side up initially while it's uncovered, and hopefully about 4 to 4.5 hours in, it probably won't take any more smoke after that. It should be up to about 140 degrees. And then I go ahead and cover it. So once it gets to about 140, 145, I go ahead and cover it or wrap it in foil and let it continue to cook inside the foil. And I put a little special seasoning in there as well. So I'll show you that later on. We're just going to pat this in. I'm going to flip it back over one more time. Put a little bit here. back over one more time and then finish covering it with on this side. So I use the rest of it here. Sometimes I would add, if I was doing a cookout, I'd probably do 2, and one of them I will have it nice and spicy. So I would add a few pinches of cayenne pepper, just to give it that kick. So it's going to be nice and covered here. Pat this in, make sure it's on there nice and thick. My next show, I think I will do some ribs. I did some a few weeks ago, but I didn't feel like recording that one. But I will do some ribs. Maybe even venture out and do some beef ribs. I haven't done those in years. Okay, this is nice and covered. Nice and covered. So with that being said, I'm going to show you how I have the grill set up, and we'll go ahead and get the grill fired up, get it up to temp, and then we'll throw this boy on. We'll cover it with some aluminum foil here, so that it'll be about room temperature when I put it on. So see you in a bit. All right, so it's raining, so I had to move my smoker under the covered part of my patio. I'm gonna have this set up in what they call a minion method. So the center is hollow. I got charcoal around it. I'm gonna use my chimney starter to get some charcoals lit. Then I'll dump them in the middle. And this thing, once I get it set, it'll burn 11, 12 hours, 250, and I don't even have to touch it. So let's go ahead and get the charcoal started and get this thing rocking and rolling. I'm going to put a couple pieces of newspaper or paper towels under here. I know there's these little cubes you can get from Lowe's, Walmart, Home Depot. Light it. Set this over the top. And just wait and let the charcoals get hot. Okay, I see the flames are starting to come out the top of my chimney starter. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these dumped into the charcoal bowl so we can get this thing up to temp. Alright, so next I need to add the center section onto my smoker. So I'm going to go ahead and add that on. And now, so this is the center section that's been added on. Center section there. I'm going to go ahead and drop my water pan in. No water in it just yet, but I'm going to go ahead and set it in. Okay. I do use water. I do not use sand. Some people use sand. I don't agree with that, but so I just don't want dirt around my food. So, all right. And then the next will be just to get this thing up to temp. Go ahead and put the lid on. Haven't put my grate in there yet. Okay, we just hit the 200 mark. And technically we could start smoking at this temperature, but I'm going to let it come on up. It's going to go up over 250. I had to go ahead and open up all the vents at the bottom. They're all the way open, all three. So I'm getting a lot of airflow through, and it will heat up pretty quick. I've had this thing all the way up 500 degrees before, so not paying attention to it. So it can get pretty hot, but I'm going to keep an eye on it. As soon as it hits 250, I'm going to back the vents down to about the size of a flathead screwdriver on the bottom, all three, and then on the top, go ahead and shut it all the way down. Okay, we just crossed the 225 mark. This is about where I would like to cook my ribs, about 225, nice and slow. But brisket, I am going to try to get it up to 250, and I can maintain it at 250 with this smoker here. It's very easy to maintain, so it's not going to be a problem. As soon as it hits 250, I'm going to go ahead and back down the vents again to the size of a flathead screwdriver, probably about 1/8 of an inch, and go ahead and add water to my water pan. I got cold water. A lot of people say do hot water, but I know it's going to be over 250 degrees, so that cold water help bring that temperature back down to about 250. So I can go ahead and get this brisket on. All right, so we're just about to touch 250. That took maybe no more than 15 minutes, not even 15 minutes to get to 250. So very good design on this smoker. It really works. The only drawback is if you're doing a lot of meat, the second tray, you have to take the top rack of meat off to tend to the second tray of meat below. So that's the drawback. But other than that, it is a very good smoker for a backyard cooker. So, all right, we're at 250. I'm going to go ahead and back these vents down and go ahead and add water to my water pan. Be right back. Alright, so I've added the water to my water pan. I had to take the lid off to do so. So when I did that, the temperature dropped just a little bit, but you see it's coming back up to 250. I just got to find that, what they call that sweet spot with these vents to get it to stabilize. But once you get it set, like I said, this thing will rock and roll for about 11 to 12 hours and not have to touch it. So let me see if I can get it stabilized at about 250, and once I do that, we'll put 250. So I'm going to go ahead and put this brisket on, and we'll keep an eye on it. Again, we're going fat side up. So that fat will drain into the meat and help tenderize the meat and season it. The brisket has been on for 4 hours now. The next step, I normally wrap it in some foil and then put some other ingredients in there with it so it tenderize and season it more. So while it's still on the smoker, I'm gonna go ahead and add some beef bouillon to a pot with some water. And then what I do is I bring this to a boil, and then I stir in some brown sugar, let it cool down, and then when I bring the brisket off, put it in foil, and I pour this inside the foil with the brisket. So let's go ahead and put this on the... I just opened my grill and put my probe in, or the smoker and put the probe in. It was at just shy of 250. It dropped a little bit once I opened it. But I have my probe in. If you look at my probe, I'm at 154. So it's time to go ahead and get this thing wrapped and let it just finish tenderizing inside of the aluminum foil with the beef bouillon brown sugar mix. So I'm going to go ahead and get this off the smoker, get it wrapped, put it back on, and we'll we'll be back. We're only a few hours away from this thing being finished. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 layers of aluminum foil down first. Take the brisket off, put it inside the foil, and wrap it. Okay, so always double wrap it. And that's just a habit from dealing with ribs, because the bones can coat through the foil. So always double wrap. Okay. Get my gloves. Gloves to protect me from the heat. Okay. I'm gonna go out here and pull this off. I'll be right back. This grate's gonna pour some of this bouillon and brown sugar mix over it. And also, once I take this off the smoker, once it's done, I will pour this, all the juices left, out and put it in some containers because it's good to season your brisket as you slice it. Okay. Brown sugar, I'm just going to go ahead and add some more over the top. One side. Okay. We're going to go ahead and close this up now. Now we're going to put this back on the smoker and let it finish. I have my my little grill thermometer here, so I will keep an eye on it this way from this point on. The water pan is pretty much empty now. It's dried out, but since it's wrapped, I don't need any more water in it, so I'm not going to add any more water to it. The grill is still sitting at 248, 250, somewhere around there. We should be fine. Let it keep going for a few more hours. It's 170. I normally let mine get up to about really 190, and then I take it off. I just like mine well done, and it's wrapped up, so it's still going to be tender and moist. It's not going to be dried out. So we'll see how it goes from here on. So it is 12:50. The brisket is done. It's at 190 degrees. I'm going to let this rest for a little bit. Then I'm going to open it. I'm going to drain the juice off. Put it in some cups so that you can we can use it as a dressing for the brisket. And then go from there. Alright, so let's give this thing a shot. I want to slice it. I always cut it against the grain. So I'm going to take it off and put it on a regular cutting board. give this a shot. Oh wow. Look how easy that cut. Look at the smoke ring on it. Give you a close-up of that smoke ring. Nice smoke ring. Very tender. See what it tastes like. Oh wow. Nice smoky flavor. A little sweet. Wow. Ooh, a little pepper. Actually giving me chills. Wow.